the heart and soul behind every business. Stories. Welcome to Business Story of the Week, hosted by me, Joshua Laurie. From setbacks to comebacks, from tragedies to triumphs, we inspire entrepreneurs through conversations that matter. Witness the magic that turns dreams into reality. Whether it's your career, business, or life, your success is always one story away. This is Business Story of the Week. And welcome back, folks. Welcome back to Business Story of the Week. I am your host, Joshua. And today's question is, how can securing a trademark or a registered trademark give your business the edge in today's competitive market? But also, what is the difference between a trademark and a registered trademark and all of that? We're going to learn that today. And our guest is the perfect person to answer that question. Desiree Townsend was one of the very first people to go viral. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is quite an important detail. To go viral before the internet, before viral was a thing in the internet. She went viral back in 2009 through the media. Before being viral was even a thing, she was known as the flu shot cheerleader. Desiree was a former Redskins cheerleader ambassador. She also worked as a communication manager for tech company AOL and has spent the past several years working in law as an intellectual property paralegal. She has a degree in biochemistry and molecular biology from UC Irvine and tries to educate people on complex biotechnology and virology topics, and also talking a little bit today about with trademarking. Desiree, you're looking lovely today. Thank you for being on the show. How are you doing?
Thank you, Joshua. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me today.
Fantastic. I mean, I'm excited because your story is quite interesting as well, and the pivot that you made as well, and we need to talk about all that stuff. But before we do, we need to get into the origin stories, right? You've had a
Sure.
fascinating journey from cheerleaders, communications, being intellectual paralegal today, and can you share to us the transition, the pivotal moments that led you here?
Sure.
But of course, it's very important to transition us into the going viral, right? But before we get there, Desiree, did you always know you were going to be the flu shot cheerleader? Did you always know you were going to get into paralegal and all that? What is the story? What is the
No.
origin story of Desiree Townsend?
It's been a very windy path.
I
So
bet.
I never planned on any of this happening. I hope to grow within a corporation and just climb the corporate ladder, but life had other plans for me. So I had worked since I was 18 at tech company AOL doing communications. I had a brief stint as a financial advisor for Morgan Stanley. So I'm a registered securities representative. So that was a little deviation from the path. And then all of a sudden in 2009, I became a Redskins cheerleader ambassador. And that kind of propelled me down a whole new path. But before the season could even start, I developed an autoimmune disease that is very bizarre. You may have saw it on the news a couple of days ago. Celine Dion actually has it. And it causes speech impediments and muscle movement contractions. And so I developed that disease, and it's a bizarre disease. It creates speech problems and muscle contractions, and it just looks overall bizarre. So it was hard to diagnose. It took several years. But at the time, I had a vaccine several weeks prior, and it wasn't related to the vaccine at all. It just, the timing made it look that way. And at that moment, anti-vaxxer Jenny McCarthy and her organization came in, took my story and used it and spun it as a marketing sort of campaign to propel the anti-vaccine movement. So I was the first person to go viral before social media was really a thing. And then my story is really what created the anti-vaccine movement, and it spun it into what it is today, which is an industry. It's an industry that
Yes.
sells nutraceuticals
Mm-hmm.
and biohacking
Mm-hmm.
techniques and
Mm-hmm.
all this other stuff that isn't necessarily scientifically proven,
Mm-hmm.
but
Absolutely.
people buy it anyways. So that's in the essence how I became the flu shot cheerleader. But
Oh,
because of that, and because of how contentious vaccines are now, people
mm-hmm.
are on both sides are very contentious about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's made it so I'm essentially unemployable. No one will hire me. I've gone through all levels of interviews, and then they do their due diligence, Google
Of
me, and
course.
it's over. So
Of course.
that led me to create this company called Sparkmarks. Since I've been doing contract legal work as a paralegal for years, I decided
Mm-hmm.
that I wanted to help people be able to trademark their
Right.
business
Mm-hmm.
affordably. It's
Mm-hmm.
so cost prohibitive right
Mm-hmm.
now.
Right now.
You
Mm-hmm.
have to go through an attorney if you want to have somebody assist you in the trademark
Mm-hmm.
filing, or you
Mm-hmm.
have to file it on your own.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why this is frustrating for a lot of people is that many individuals don't understand this, but the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office is one office, but it's got two separate divisions:
Oh,
the
okay.
trademark office
Uh-huh.
and the patent office. So you
Mm-hmm.
go to them
Mm-hmm.
if you want to file a trademark or you file a patent.
Okay.
Well, on the patent side, non-attorneys can take what's called the patent bar. So I could take the patent bar and
Okay.
you could pay me and I could file a very complex patent on your
I
behalf.
see. I see.
But on the trademark side, nothing like that exists. And trademarks
Oh,
are not as complex. They're a lot easier to file. They're just a set of rules like the patent
okay.
office is. But
Uh-huh.
because of the lawyer mafia, people like me can't take a trademark bar and bring the cost down of
I
trademarking
see.
your business on
I
that
see.
side. So I decided to create courses and
Mm-hmm.
the ability to auto populate the USPTO trademark form so people
Mm-hmm.
can actually afford to be able to file their own trademarks.
Okay. So, first of all,
I know
that
it's a
is
lot. Yeah.
exactly right. That is a
Yes.
winding road indeed. But thank you for pulling us through that, all that, because there's a lot to unravel in there. First thing is first and foremost, it blows my mind that it was indeed your story that blew open, that kind of opened
Yeah.
Pandora's box. I am I am disheartened on the industry that it turned into today and how it started with the misinformation. I thank you as well for calling out the name, as we should first we should definitely keep calling her out for what she has started. And it's not it's but it blows. This is no secret, right? That the whole
No,
flu vaccine, the anti-vaccine movement was started by Jenny McCarthy. But it
it
blows my
was.
mind that they use your story. That to me is what kind of like it flipped your life around. You couldn't take any more
It
jobs
did.
because of it.
And here's the irony of it. Jenny McCarthy is still working in Hollywood. She's working on The Masked Singer. She's making millions of dollars. Yet she was at an anti-vaccine rally last year.
Mhm,
Right
mhm,
now, while we face H5N1 jumping into humans in the United
mhm,
States,
mhm,
she is destabilizing
mhm,
people's belief and faith in vaccines when we need it
mhm,
the most. And look, I'm
mhm.
all for people deciding whether or not they personally need a
Yes,
vaccine. It's an
yes,
individual choice. It depends on
yes,
your risk
of
factors.
course.
But the problem is the people are not doing an appropriate risk assessment. They're
Yes.
thinking, "Oh, I have a high reaction. I will have a high
Mhm,
reaction to a
mhm.
vaccine," instead of thinking, if I get this virus, I might die. So they're
Yes,
not looking at
exactly.
the probability at the two events. They're just looking at the vaccine and thinking, oh, I'm going to, win the lottery and have
Mhm.
a vaccine injury. And that's the thing. Even if you do have a vaccine reaction, it is 100% reversible with corticosteroids, right?
Of
You
course.
can go to the hospital, get steroids, it's over. But people don't think of this stuff, and they take the fear mongering from these anti-vaccine people that they're honestly selling merchandise and videos and whatever else they can sell you. But it's just important. I'm trying to get people to just look at it. Just look what they're selling. They're selling you stuff.
And the terrifying part is they believe it. They actually, like, the people pushing this actually truly believe that that it doesn't work.
I think there are some that are smart enough that know. There are some that are smart enough to know. I've heard some of these people who are pushing this anti-vaccine propaganda were actually some of the first people in line to get the COVID vaccine secretly.
Of course.
Because everybody was terrified. Everyone was terrified at the beginning. And it was a luxury item. It was, if you got a COVID vaccine when you were not in line to get it, it was a big deal. It was like getting a Louis Vuitton bag, right? But then once the market was flooded with vaccines, everyone kind of said, "Oh, it's not important anymore." But yes, so it's supply and demand, or at least it was back then. But they're making money off of it.
I'm there with you, Desiree. It's quite the industry. It's quite the movement. It's disheartening. It's frustrating, especially for you. The experience that you went through it shaped your personal life. It shaped your personal professional path. What lessons have you learned from it, you would say? What would be the biggest takeaways that you've take from going viral as a flu shot cheerleader and affecting your professional life?
I think the biggest thing that I learned is that people don't change their minds. They do not change their minds. Once they've formulated a decision in their mind about you or about a subject, no matter what evidence you present to them, it'll never sway them. And case in point, I've gone on multiple podcasts and explained everything that happened to me. So Inside Edition in 2020, the media uses and sensationalizes things, and they spun a video of me walking into my car. I'm walking sideways to get into my car because there's another car next to my car. They spun it as me faking walking side, like it's crazy. But because of that video, people think I'm a fraud and a scammer. And I kid you not, on Saturday I had a medical doctor find my Instagram, and she proceeded to berate me and disparage me. And honestly, it was defamation. She called me a fraud and a charlatan, and literally attacked me for hours on Instagram. And you're never going to believe this. I emailed, so I was on a pro-vaccine podcast that hasn't aired yet. I emailed them, and it's somebody associated with the pro-vaccine podcast. Okay. So a pro-vaccine medical doctor did this. But that's my point. Even the smartest, most rational people have a very difficult time changing their mind, even in the face of overwhelming evidence. It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. I cannot. I'm floored. Because I was going to say, like, Saturday. Did I hear that wrong? It was just literally just Saturday.
Yeah.
Which means it's
you can go to my Instagram and see it. It is insane.
It's still going for you. That's a problem. It's like, to me, that's mind blowing. It feels like it's never ended for you. 15 years.
No, it never does. And this woman actually went a step further and found my business associates and like UCLA, UCI, and called me a fraud on their pages too. So she actually went a step further and did it to people I'm working with in business. So that's how vile people can be on both sides of this vaccine debate.
That's an even more mind blowing part. we were just talking about the other side, and now you're talking about the other side as well. You mentioned both sides now.
They're both they're both
They're
vile. Both
coming
sides
at you
are vile.
on
Yes.
both sides. That's to me, that's mind blowing, because you want to, of course, you like picking sides. You want to, we're on the side of truth, facts, and science, and whatnot. But why go as far as trying to destroy a person's life, a personal life, and going to that? What good does it do? Desiree, it's to me that
I
is,
look, it's Republican and Democrat,
of
and
course,
we've gotten into this,
of course,
into these dueling gangs.
Mhm.
They're gangs, right?
Always.
Cartels, whatever you want to call it. We pigeonholed ourselves into these two very distinct and very extreme
Hmm.
demographics or
Exactly.
parties or viewpoints, whatever it is, and there's
Hmm.
no middle room. No
No
one
room. Nope.
wants on either side to find the middle ground. And if you try
Absolutely.
to find the middle ground, they call you weak and you're attacked by both parties or by both sides of whatever viewpoint it is. We are just become so extreme on everything. I don't know how you fix it.
Absolutely. It's come to really come to a very extreme point. I mean, I am an observer from the outside perspective, but I keep up because I think there are a lot of implications of what is happening there to all over the world, of course. But uh, back to your point and where we are, I mean, it's both sides, and it's just so extreme right now. And you mentioned like you learned that people never change their minds. How about on the positive side? How I can only imagine what kind of resilience this has. How have you dealt with it for 15 years, and what kind of uh, principles and values that you were able to develop from it so you can deal with it better?
Well, I think for me, so I have to say I'm very stubborn and I don't get depressed or sad when stuff like this happens. I get
Wow, beautiful.
angry. So my coping mechanism is to just lose it.
Fight
So
back, basically.
yeah, so I have a very unique coping mechanism, which is
Mhm.
not normal. I don't go cry. No, I like go throw stuff and fight back. So that
Mhm.
has worked really well for me in keeping me alive throughout all of this, because it's
Wow.
been dark. I've had very dark days going
Mhm.
through this for 15 years.
Mhm.
So I think that helps. Just getting out in nature, walking, doing anything active is also a good way to kind of, pump yourself up and get out of that state of mind.
Mhm.
But you know what? And this is kind of what I wanted to also talk about. We're clearly heading into another recession, and
Yes.
when when you lose your job
Mhm.
or when a door closes, like it did for me, it closed for many years.
Mhm.
What came out of it was me launching this trademarking
Yes. Mhm.
business
Mhm.
and giving people the ability to do trademarks cheaper on their own. Now,
Mhm.
why this is important is because back when 2009 happened,
Yeah.
a lot of people lost their jobs. They got laid off and they thought it was the end of the world. But do you know how many multi-million dollar businesses started from that recession? I mean, countless.
Yes.
So anybody that sees themselves getting laid off during this next recession or losing their job, instead of looking at it as a negative, think of it as a positive. Okay,
Mhm.
you have a severance package, you have unemployment. That great genius idea you have, go and run with it.
There you go.
Find other people to help
Mhm.
you. Do whatever you need to do to bootstrap yourself to get this company up and growing, because the whole reason you got laid off is because the universe, God, whoever it is, wants you to start your business. So
Mhm.
I think it's an important thing to think about, because a lot of people are going to be losing their jobs and are losing their jobs now that we seem to be hitting a bump in the road in the
Absolutely.
economy.
Mhm.
And instead of seeing as a negative, they should take whatever severance or unemployment they have and launch that great business idea that they've had for some time.
Absolutely. And it is the era of solopreneurs also. We are getting
Yes.
there. We want to develop your own brand. You want to develop yourself as, as a way to market yourself as well. I think we're really entering into that kind of like market where we're going to see a lot more solopreneurs, but that makes it more important. Actually, it's a perfect way to transition into what you're doing now with the trademarking. You're offering a legal, through USPTO that
Yes, a
instead of
different avenue.
exactly
But
instead
real
of
quick,
okay,
before
go ahead,
before we jump into trademarks, let me make a really good point for
please.
people. So there's a lot of people that think, oh, I have to have that corporate job. But you
Mm,
have to remember that the corporate job, there's a ceiling to how much money you can make.
of
There's
course.
always going to be a ceiling there. But when
Mhm,
you have your own business, there is no ceiling. It's up to you.
mhm,
You can make infinite amount of money. So
mhm,
it's another factor that people need to consider when or if they lose a job. Like,
mhm.
do you really want to be working for somebody else, making them money with a ceiling over your head on how much income you can bring in? Or
Sheesh.
do you want to just take that risk, try to launch your own business, and now you have no ceiling in the income potential that you could have? So anyway, so I just want to make that note to kind of encourage people to just do it.
I
Just
do.
go out there and launch that idea that you have. But yes, on that vein, before you launch the idea, it's really important to make sure whatever brand you come up with, you can actually trademark.
There you go.
Now, what that means is it a brand name or a logo that, one, you can file and get through the
Hmm.
US Patent and Trademark Office,
Hmm.
and two, if you launch this in commerce, could this potentially get you sued? Right? Because so I'm not an attorney, this is not legal advice, but the
Hmm.
way I understand trademark law, there's something called common law rights. The moment you
Sure.
start using a trademark in commerce, you become the legal owner of that trademark. So somebody can be using a trademark for years in commerce, but they never filed a trademark at the US Patent and Trademark Office. They're still an owner of a trademark, but they're
Hmm.
not able to use that circle R, right?
There you go. Hmm.
So it's important before you go launching a brand into the marketplace that you do a trademark search. Make sure that no one else is using it and that it's going to be strong enough to get you a registered trademark at the
There you
US
go.
Patent and Trademark Office.
Okay.
That's so important. And also filing an application, because here's the other thing that I see a lot happening.
Hmm.
Somebody launches their brand into the marketplace. They said, "Oh, I'll wait to file the trademark." Well, somebody
Right.
saw your really cool trademark in an Instagram post. They ran to the trademark office
Uh
and
oh.
filed it before you,
Uh
and now
oh.
you got to spend thousands of dollars on an attorney to try to
Oh
get
no.
that trademark back.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
that
Okay.
happens a
Right.
lot.
A lot? Oh wow. Of course it
That
does,
happens a
right?
lot. I'm going to tell you another scary story. So
Well, please.
I work with a lot of clients that work through Amazon stores. They have Amazon storefronts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this actually happened a few times. One
Mm.
client was selling on Amazon. They didn't file a trademark at the USPTO. They didn't even try to register one. They were selling for a few years. A competitor didn't like them, reported to Amazon that
Oh
their
no.
trademark was trademark infringing, even though it wasn't.
Oh
It
no.
automatically pulled their storefront. They lost millions of dollars, and it took
Oh
them
no.
9 months to get their storefront back up. So people need to realize this is a tactic that your competitors will use. And if you haven't filed a trademark at the US Patent and Trademark Office and then registered it with Amazon, somebody can just not like you, report you for trademark infringement, and now your storefront's gone off Amazon until
Mm.
they do their due diligence. Yeah, this happens a lot.
Mm.
One of our clients was so mad after this happened, they ended up suing the person that reported them. They're still in litigation over it. They
Oh my.
lost millions
Oh
of
my goodness.
dollars.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Desiree, first of all, that all is very insightful. And you've brought to us the importance of putting in trademarks. You're registering your trademark. Before I even got to ask a question, you actually gave us
Yeah.
the difference of a registered trademark versus just a trademark, like getting that encircled R, right? I'd like this to give us delve delve down a little bit more with us because many business owners may not realize the importance, right? Like, how important is it really for me as a business? or me as a solopreneur, or me as a brand? Can you explain why registering a trademark is crucial for business? But also, is there a difference in registering, say, for a business and a personal brand? Would the trademarking be different or similar?
It, so it would be the same. So
Mhm.
the best example of registering a brand, let's say I'm a creator or I'm Kylie Jenner.
Mhm.
Kylie Jenner and the Kardashians have more trademarks under their own name than you can even
Of
imagine. And
course.
you can get a trademark for your name so long as you're selling goods or services under your name. So if I'm
Interesting.
Kylie Jenner and I'm selling makeup under my name, I
Mm.
can get a trademark for makeup. So there's 45 different classifications of goods or services at the USPTO. They don't just give you a blanket trademark. It has to be connected to one of the 45 different
Oh,
classes.
interesting.
So Kylie Jenner, even Yeezy has
Of course.
Kanye West. He has
Uh-huh.
a lot of trademarks
Uh-huh.
for particular goods or services in the
Mm.
marketplace. So it's important for anybody who's going, whatever you're going to sell, a good
Mhm.
or a service, you really should register a trademark. And the reason being is one, you don't want it to be stolen. Somebody takes your great name or great idea
Mhm.
of a slogan and then they file
Of
before
course.
you
Yep.
because
Yep.
it's really difficult to get it back at that point.
Yes. Yes.
Two, you don't want to infringe either. So you
Mm.
might be launching something into the marketplace, not realizing you're infringing on someone else's trademark
Yes.
until they come after you and sue
Mhm.
you potentially for that.
Mhm.
So that's the other importance. And lastly, you want to make sure it's a strong brand. Is it
Of
is it
course.
actually going to be something that is recognizable by consumers? Are they going to recognize it in the marketplace?
Mhm.
Yeah, there's so many elements, but it's one of the most important things to do, and it's also completely separate in a lot of respects to the LLC formation. So a lot
Yes.
of people think,
Okay.
okay, I need to form an LLC and I want the LLC to be the same name as the trademark. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter. The
Doesn't
LLC
matter.
is just, it's just what's registered with whatever state you have. It's that entity you file taxes under. It's the holding company for your intellectual property. But your
Interesting.
brand, what you go out into the marketplace with, that
Mhm.
is what you want to trademark. So Amazon Technologies Incorporated is
Mhm.
the name of their company, but they use Amazon in the marketplace, or they use Siri or whatever else it may be. I think
There
that's
you
Apple.
go.
It's what's the one? Alexa.
Alexa.
So, but
Yes. Mm.
Alexa is their brand, but
Mhm.
Amazon Technology Companies is their corporation hidden
There you
behind it
go.
that's holding the brand. So that's a
Mhm.
little bit of a difference. I think people confuse the company
Yes.
entity of the company that's holding the IP versus the brand that you're selling under.
Yes. Okay. That's what a great way to put it. That was actually my next question. You answered it already. But yes. So the entity is different. You know whatever is holding the IP, but you have to have. It's important to have these multiple trademarks connected to that, making
Yeah.
sure that it's yours, making sure that it's strong, making sure that it's recognizable, and this is what you do with Sparkmarks, and it's also, of course,
Yes.
trademarked and registered. Talk to us about the unique services by making trademark accessible, affordable. What makes your Spark Marks different?
Oh, sure. So Sparkmarks has a pending trademark. It's not
Oh,
registered yet.
interesting. Okay, okay,
We
okay.
just filed it. It's okay. That's why. So let me explain the TM symbol. So that's why
Please.
in Sparkmarks you see a TM symbol above it,
Hmm.
because I'm putting people on notice, letting them know that it is a trademark, and then it also coincidentally is pending at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office.
Okay,
When
interesting.
it registers and when I get a registration number, I can then change that TM to a circle R. So that's the coveted circle R. I don't
The
have that yet, but I'm
coveted
working my
circle
way
R.
there. The coveted circle R.
I love that.
So I'm hoping for that in 12 months or so. The USPTO is pretty backlogged. They're about 10 months out before they even look at an application. But
Almost.
the the whole point of Spark Marks is I was doing training to legal staff on how to file a trademark application or any of the other filing forms. So I took that training and then I basically overlaid the USPTO's rules on top of that so that people can take the training, take a course, and figure out how to do this on their own. They can completely do a lot of this on their own, the filing at least. And if they didn't want to do a course, we have automated forms. So we figured out a way how to auto-populate the USPTO form for them. And we send them the form and they can file it and pay on their own. But what most people don't realize is you pay $2,000 to $3,000 for a trademark, right? Well, here's the breakdown of time that's happening in the back end. So me, the paralegal, maybe at best, I'm doing 45 minutes of work. I'm running your trademark search to make sure the trademark is clear and I can get it through the USPTO. And I'm looking at common law to make sure you're not going to get sued. So that takes me like 30 minutes. And then I prepare the trademark application, get it ready for filing, and send it to the attorney for them to review for like 2 minutes. So all in all, I probably put in 45 minutes and I get paid $30 an hour, right? Well, the attorney probably puts in 15, maybe 30 if they decide, you want to have a call with them. And they just made $3,000. And so it was on that. I'm like, oh my God, why are we charging people so much for this? And it's just what attorneys charge. And so I figured that if I could bring the cost down substantially and teach people how to do it on their own, they could save so much money. Because here's the part that is the most critical of all the steps in the trademark process. It is that search at the beginning, the clearance search. That's where an analysis by an attorney is highly recommended. You can attempt to do it on your own. We have a free course where you can try to understand how we analyze it. But it's always best to have an attorney look it over, because the trademark search is going to tell people, one, am I going to infringe and get sued if I try to bring this trademark to the market? And two, what are the odds of getting it through the USPTO? Once you know that, and if you have a trademark that's clear with a high probability of getting to the USPTO, you can file that on your own.
Interesting.
It's really easy to do. The forms are complex, but the process is pretty straightforward, and it's all supported by the USPTO's own rule book. So it's easy for a lot of entrepreneurs and startups to bootstrap themselves and do it on their own.
And this is what you offer exactly. You offer the courses, you offer the lessons, you offer the automated services.
Yes, and the search. So they can. So we've partnered with. So this is something that has never existed in the marketplace before. We partnered with the same search firm. They're a company, a technology company that does all the searches for all trademark law firms, basically, including like LegalZoom. So we partnered with them and we have their search on our platform. So you can actually purchase the same search results or report you would get from any law firm or from LegalZoom. If you're filing a trademark through them, you're getting their search, but you get to analyze it on your own at a fraction of the cost. So what I like to recommend to people is do the search, see what you find. If you find several trademarks that are similar, slightly similar, or you're just unsure, then hire an attorney to look at your results.
There you go.
And get an opinion from them. That's the best way of doing it. And then from there, see if it's worth the risk to file the trademark on your own, or if it's better to just continue it through an attorney.
All right, that's all. That is very insightful. You answer my questions before I even get to ask them. But Desiree, this has been quite the insightful session when it comes to your trademarking. This is the first. I think
we covered everything.
Exactly, we covered everything, and I'm like, wow, trademarking.
It's stuff I didn't even think about. Yeah,
exactly. And I'm like,
trademarking, going viral, vaccines, like you name it. We talked about everything.
That's too funny, and it's true. I don't think I've had a guest talk about trademarking. Is the thing. That's why I feel I feel like I learned a lot, and I wouldn't be alone in that. our audience and listeners, I'm sure, found it just as insightful. And when it comes to trademarking, it's not, there's a lot of stuff that are unknown, a lot of stuff that are misunderstood, I feel, and you've given us a lot of
They confuse it with patents, right? Or they confuse
yes,
it with the
yes.
other. So patents for invention. It's for
Mhm.
something usually physical you've invented. And a copyright is usually for things you've created, like a photograph or a book or a piece of music.
Interesting.
A
Okay.
trademark is really for brands. A
That's it.
trademark's for brands, and that's the most important piece.
Hmm.
Don't go spending all this money on a domain name and
Hmm.
hiring a logo designer if you
Hmm.
can't even use
Hmm.
that brand.
Hmm.
I see so many people do this. They rush to GoDaddy, buy the domain, then they hire somebody on Fiverr, and
Hmm.
this entire time they can't use that trademark because they'll get sued by Disney or whatever it
Oh
is.
my
Like,
goodness.
you got to do the search before you jump into branding and buying domains and going all that route.
That's it. That's it. That's the insight right
Yeah.
there. And that is the perspective that we needed when it comes to trademarking. Desiree, let us know where we
Thank
can
you,
find
Joshua.
you. Where can we connect with you? Where can we learn more about Desiree and Sparkmarks?
Sure. So you can go to sparktrademarks.com to take a look at the site. We're also on Instagram at
Mm.
Spark Trademarks. And you'll also find us on Facebook and LinkedIn under the same name. As far as me, the flu shot cheerleader, you'll find me as the flu shot cheerleader on Instagram, and you can take a look at the doctor who has been harassing me all weekend.
Oh my God, we're gonna
If
go
you
in there
guys
and
know where
defend
she
you.
works at, you let me know.
Desiree,
So
that
yeah.
was one another question, by the way. Did you register flu shot cheerleader?
I did. I did. Flu shot
Oh,
cheerleaders. So I want to start a team of cheerleaders that cheerlead for flu shots. I know.
let's
I am
go.
over the top. So it finally it's at the USPTO. They reviewed it. It's going through, baby. So I'm
Oh my
excited.
goodness, let's do that. I'm
Yeah.
there with you. I would love to be a flu shot cheerleader myself.
Oh, I'd love to get you in an off outfit, Joshua. Let's do
Let's do
it.
that. I'll do the whole thing with the
You're
pom
coming to
poms
a
and all.
Rams game with me.
Oh, I would love to. Let's do that.
Let's do it. Okay. Let's do
That's right.
it.
It has been lovely. You have been lovely. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for the insights, the episode. Um, and best of luck to all your brands and what you do, and all the success. And keep fighting the good fight.
Thank you, Joshua. You're amazing. I appreciate you having me on today.
All right, fantastic, ladies and gentlemen, to all our audience listeners. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I do. You know, we always enjoy these episodes, and we will see you on the next one.
All right, so here's the thing. We try to get a little bit better every day, but we can't do it without you. So if you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe below. And if you have any comments, just leave them in the space under.